before we sort of go into just go into the next bit, right? Because we've really we've broken down the hop landing and the step takeoff there, right, into its constituent parts, as it were. But before we do that, I just I just want to, before we sort of talk about the drills that you're going to see, because we're going to spend some time just looking through a few drills. I just want to talk to you about how we break down some of the ways that I'm going to talk to you about the drills and stuff like that. Yeah, so I would break down the practices and how and the type of strategies that we use in the practices. Now, it's important that I'm what I'm about to say, right? I'm not saying right this is in literature anywhere, right? It's literally my way of looking at it. And some of it might be in some literature. Certainly, the strategies for practice and stuff like that is, but not necessarily what I'm going to call technical derivatives, as it were. So, I look at the perfection for the triple jump, yeah, as a sort of a tiered type of in a tiered type of way. So, by if you look at the slide at the top of that, right, is the triple jump itself, and that's the whole technique. And for the mature athletes and stuff like that, and people like that, or athletes who are skilled, been doing the triple jump for a while, that's where a lot of the practices will take place, right, where they're just doing a lot of triple jumping. But if you consider for a moment, right, that if you want to perfect the triple jump, you need to have a good hop, a good step, and a good jump. And one of the ways to do that, right, is to actually take that out, right, and actually perfect that. And I call that the first derivative skill of the triple jump, working on the component parts of the triple jump, which is the hop, step, and jump, and actually getting those as perfect as you can make them, given the time that you have to work with the athlete. So imagine now, right, that the hop, you worked on the hop, but actually the hop needs a little bit more work. Certain parts of the hop need a little bit more work than the other. So the hop itself now can be broken down into what I call a second derivative skill. So you look at the hop takeoff, the hop flight, and the hop landing. Yeah. And you can actually work on each of those to actually try to improve the hop. Equally, right, you can do the same thing for the step and the same thing for the jump. The hop takeoff, which is a derivative of the hop, as it were, right? If we just took that as an example, can also then be broken down into what I call a third derivative type skill. Yeah, and the hop takeoff, I've given here, right, a couple of example of how that might be broken down. You might want to go 3 or 4 different ways. One of the ways that's probably missing off this one is maybe the preparation for the hop takeoff. You can actually look at that as a core skill to try and perfect. Equally, the plant of the leg or the arm action, or you could actually, instead of the arm action, right, you might actually go, I want to look at the leg drive or the free knee drive into the hop or whatever it is, into the hop takeoff. So that's how I break down where it is that I'm going to actually focus my attention in the triple jump drill. And it's based on basically either it's a whole skill, first derivative skill, second derivative skill, or possibly a third one. Now, for the most part, the athlete, the young athlete would probably, if you're working with an athlete that have never done the triple jump, you mostly, right, will be spending a lot of your time at the whole skill part of it, and maybe some of it at the first derivative skill, and that's all that they require. The other second derivative and third derivative skill is when, as a coach, right, you're looking to give that athlete a finer distinction of what they need to do and what they need to understand. Basically, right, the athletes basically margins have narrowed, and you're looking for your 1%. Yeah, and now you start to really mine to get out those gold nuggets out of that technique. And so you mine down into second and third derivative, try and get the most out of the athlete from a technical perspective. Now, how does that work with the practice strategies? Well, as I've said, right, you can actually use any of these first, second, third derivative, and you can actually go all part whole as a session strategy for improving the technique. And a whole sort of strategy works best for chunks that have been taken out and put back into the triple jump. So for instance, let's go the whole triple jump. Let's imagine, right, that I want to perfect the hop. Then I just go and take out the hop, do some hopping work, and then put it back into a triple jump. Yeah, and I would typically work with it at a 3-to-1 ratio. So I might work on whatever skill that I'm trying to work with in the hop. I'll do that maybe 3 times. And on the fourth one, I go, right, let's put that into a triple jump. And then over time, right, that will morph into something that is not 3-1, but 1-3, where you probably only do one of the skills, and then you will go into the whole skill 3 times, as it were. Yeah, so you do more whole skill by the time you get, let's say, to competitive phase, and less of those part skill type stuff. When you're using the strategy for shaping, that works best for fast consecutive type movements. And the one that comes to mind is, the other, the last webinar we were working into the hop takeoff into flight. It's difficult to take the hop takeoff and flight out as separate things, because they literally morph and shape into one another. And so for that skill, right, you just do a shaping type scenario. Yeah, where it's just difficult to take the skill out. Yeah, and that way, and because the rhythm of the movement is much more important in that sense, rather than the individual you taking it out of a technique. Chaining basically works literally, right, and we all do that. Works best for sequential things, right? So if we work on the hop, yeah, and we've improved the hop, we want to now link it to a step. We want to make sure that the improvement of the hop is taken into that step takeoff. And literally, right, that's how we chain, and we can go hop to step, and we can take out the step and go step to jump, and that kind of stuff. Or we can do, as we were doing the other week, we can actually go, this is a preparation for the hop takeoff, and this is the hop takeoff. And that's a chaining type strategy and scenario. So just wanted to sort of, as we go into the drills, just to sort of see how some of these ideas, the first derivative skill, and whether or not it's all part whole or chaining or shaping that's been done with the athlete as we move forward.
Aston, just going
Yes,
back.
sir.
Yeah. So once you've broken the various components down, would you always finish your session by doing a proper triple jump? Would you always do that, or would you just leave it and just say a component we work on and leave it? I know you said 3-to-1, but would you always finish off with a triple jump?
Right. If I'm working whole part whole, I'll always end with the triple jump.
Okay. So you would end the day with a triple jump. Okay.
Yeah. If I'm working whole part whole, sometimes a session might only be we're just working on the hop.
Okay.
Yeah, and in that, and in that scenario, because we're not working actually the triple jump at that point, then we wouldn't do a triple jump.
Okay.
Yeah, but certainly whole part whole, we'll end it with the whole rather than a part.
Okay.
Yeah. So literally, the drill that we're going to see, it's all about solving problems. And the problem that we're going to look at, right? Because I'm aware, since from some of the question and answers that we've been having over these few webinars, that some, so some of you are working with younger athletes, and I wanted to sort of just deal with a few things that are more about teaching than they are about coaching, and we could have delved straight in onto all of those funky drills that we think are so good and wonderful and stuff like that. But then we forget, right, that at the end of the day, right, we're talking about hopping to step here, right? What we need to do, right, is to make sure that the athlete can actually hop properly first. So I want to go through some of that scenario, where we actually look at how would you introduce hopping to somebody who isn't particularly good at hopping. And again, right, it's my way. So, and I'm definitely not saying that that's the only way to roam. It's just one of the, it's one of the ways. So we're going to show some drills that talks about how to learn to hop, what I would call hopping safely. Once the athlete can hop safely, then we can get into the coaching, which is how do we improve the hop? And we've got a few drills on how to do that. We also then want to go into how do you execute a step takeoff, and look at that as a drill on its own. And then how we link and improve that hop with the step, and how we actually then take that almost into a triple jump scenario. So that's the sort of, the conundrum, or the jigsaw or try, or the way that I want to look at putting this jigsaw of a hop, step, and jump, or the triple jump together. So we're about to go into the drills now, and so the first drill is literally about what I call straight leg hop. So if you can blow that drill up for us, Darren. Yeah. So this is an athlete, yeah, who's literally right new to this type of work. And literally, right, I call it straight leg hopping. Now, I call it straight leg hopping because I see a lot of coaches when they're trying to teach athletes how to hop, they go straight into the cycling part of the hop. And for a lot of young athletes in particular, right, they're just not strong enough to do that position. And because they're not strong enough, they land on their toes and they do all sorts of weird things. So this is my way of actually almost encouraging, first and foremost, flat foot landing, and literally just getting that hop leg from the back to the front, from the back to the front, landing flat, pushing away, pushing away. And that for me, right, and this is an athlete, right, that, 2 years ago, right, certainly wasn't doing anything like this. And this is what I call safe hopping. Do you got anything to say on that, Frank, or can I just move on?
To make sure if you're doing these, you can either do it on the grass, on the surface that Aston is got
Steph, that is, yeah.
Steph bounding on. So it's called a plyo mat. That's what we use it for, rather than actually doing it on Mondo or cinders or tartan. So it's best to do it on a plyo mat. And if you've got decent grass, please use the grass as well. And make sure the athlete has got decent shoes on, because what you don't want the foot moving in the shoes. Yeah. So you've got to make sure you have got a stiff shoe for the athlete to use.
So now we're literally sort of, you're seeing Steph do a straight leg. This is how I would introduce what I would call now proper hopping to the athlete. And again, right, the athlete has to be one, right, do what the Steph drill, the straight leg hop, well enough for me then to start to say, okay, let's take that up into now what I would consider to be a hop that you can put into a triple jump. So just going to start it here, right? So we see the athlete now straight leg, but as they go, they start to pick the thigh up to the front more and more. Up to the front, and now it's coming up more and more and more. Yeah, and what we've done, we would have probably taken that over a longer, we ran out of runway basically. But we go step, so we see that straight leg hopping, and now it's just picked up, and now it's just thigh brought to the front, back down to the ground. Literally that. And for me, right, hopping, is as simple as that. I see a lot of people doing a lot of cycling, and there's no need for the cycle. You literally, right, hit it and just pick the leg up to the front, and then put it down and drive it down.
So what the athlete wants to focus on is the foot that's doing all the work, the foot on the ground, the one that's hitting the ground. Don't start thinking about the trail leg. Just think about the foot that's hitting the ground. That's all you have to think about.
Yeah, and so that's how I introduce now. Okay, so this is how the athlete now starts to hop in a way, right? That you would hope that they would actually can sort of demonstrate in the hop, step, and jump in the event itself, as it were. And you build that in, and you build that in until they can actually do that. So now, right? So we see in a multiple, what I call consecutive up. Yeah, we saw the athlete moving from a straight leg hop into a hop with range, as I would call it. This is now you take that hop to the runway. Yeah, and what you're going to see now is a 2 hop jump scenario. This is now perfecting the hop. This is where my athletes currently are at. Yeah, who are triple jumpers. This is where we are at in our training right now. We're perfecting one element of the triple jump, which this one that happens to be the hop. It's two hop, yeah, and I'm looking at how well those two hops are executed. If only one can be executed well, right, the athlete hasn't got it. So you're looking, if they don't come out of that first hop looking good, yeah, then yeah, it needs further and further work. And you need to maybe just go back and look at it. But again, right, it's literally a run onto the, this is a run into the hop now. And he takes off. And again, you see that comes to the front and pull down, but it gets back to the front and then pull down again. And then he has to continue that power into the, that tells me, right, that's a good hop. That tells me, right, this is a hop that will work well in a triple jump. Yeah, and you can work on ground contact here. You can work on reach and pull. You can actually work on where the arms are. You can work on the body position as they come out of one hop into the next. Yeah, all of the scenarios that we talked about in those videos with Christian earlier on in the slide. We can work on all those functions right here, yeah, in this hop, or in this what I would call consecutive hop.